Welcome to my channel.
Wife 33F said she cheated on me 30M because I'm ugly and short. Story 1-2. How did you find out you were getting cheated on? Going anonymous here for obvious reasons. I was feeling that my boyfriend was distant and secretive with his phone. As much as I asked him what was going on, he would always say everything is fine. Something was smelling fishy. After I give him an ultimatum, he decided to open up, tell me what wasn't working, and we worked things out. I finally understood what he was missing and happily tried to get him what he needed. I felt like we restored our relationship. It wasn't a big deal, just lack of communication. 1 week later I got a Facebook message from a woman saying that she was in shock to learn my boyfriend actually had a girlfriend. And that he cheated on me with her and she never knew he was in a relationship. She would never had hooked up with him if she knew that and was terribly sorry for that. She only started to get suspicious when he gave her the cold shoulder out of the blue. It was when we resolved our issues. I thanked her for letting me know, a lot. She was a victim too. We were both feeling miserable and we were sharing information and trying to understand what happened for a few days. Then I had to cut off contact with her because our chats were making me feel depressed. I confronted him. He got throatly ashamed and nervous. He was shit scared. We would both wade into his front door to ask for an explanation. He knew we were both capable of that. We broke up and I told my friends what happened who loved him and his family too. Their jaw dropped. Mostly because I'm the one who had more sexual partners in the past, so my friends expected more that attitude from me than from him, but I never ever cheated on him. I told my family too. Yeah, it sounds petty. But I was also victim of gaslighting from him. To be honest, I don't know what he said about me to his friends. But I was tired of being seen as the bad crazy women in the relationship. And I wanted my friends and my relatives to know that I'm not crazy, not needy, and not a bad person. We got back together. He's pissed off that I told them. But I think it's a way he can think of taking responsibility for his actions and do not play again the same game. If he didn't want anyone to know, he should not have done that. Simple as that. It's been sort of a painful process, but we are both working hard to mend things, and I can say that the good moments we have now that are much better than before. Of course we fight once in a while. It's hard to forget. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, I guess. Continuing a relationship with him seems rather short-sighted. You've already ruined his reputation in the eyes of your family. You seem very desperate for staying with him. Redditor 2, clearly you have yet to be betrayed by that someone that you love most in this world. If you hadn't, it would be quite easy to say that only a weak woman could stay. Only if you had could you possibly know how strong someone must be to attempt forgiveness by choosing to stay and overcome. It's not easy to heal a relationship after trust has completely disappeared from it, so her staying and fighting through these emotions and pain make her anything but weak. But what would you know, anyways? Your response to her post has me questioning whether or not you have ever even been truly, throatly in love. I'm sorry if you have not, and I'm sorry if you have. Story 2-2. The person she had been texting all day was apparently my husband's girlfriend. My ex and I were both military at the time. We had a long-distance relationship, so most of our communication was by phone. He had to go somewhere for training, told me he wouldn't have good service to call me much. Well, his cell phone bill was unusually high this particular month. I thought that was pretty strange since he didn't have good service, or so that's what he told me. We both had the same cell carrier at the time. I recently was mistakenly overcharged and so thought maybe the same situation applied to him. I logged into his cell account online, and his call text history showed all sorts of recent activity with some random number. Now I wasn't one to pry, this all happened so innocently. I didn't know what to do. I showed the screen to my supervisor, who also happens to be my close friend, who then exclaimed, "You should call the number." I could never. She ended up calling it. Unfortunately, whoever owned that number didn't answer. We sure didn't want to leave a voicemail. The next day I had to do something. My supervisor called me to let me know she was texting that person. She thought it was a guy. Next thing I know, my ex calls me and immediately asks if I've gone through his phone record. I thought that's strange to ask that all of the sudden. I lied, said nope, sure haven't. He proceeds to say someone who knew me was texting one of his soldiers' wives. They were newlyweds and just got married, so he was being nice to let him use his phone. The thought of not having good service didn't even dawn on me. Because of that, their marriage was in jeopardy. I immediately flipped out, called my supervisor. "Come to the office," she says. We meet up, I tell her what my ex told me and we needed to stop like yesterday. She tells me he was lying. The person she had been texting all day was apparently my husband's girlfriend. She was under the impression we were getting divorced. I knew about their relationship. "Oh really?" She volunteered to do a 3-way call with him. I agreed. The call didn't last long, but I could tell by the way he was talking to her, it was true. We argued so much that day. I was really young at the time, honestly we were still newlyweds ourselves. One minute we were going to get divorced, the next we were trying to work things out. Eventually we had a really toxic relationship because I couldn't trust him. And he couldn't tell me the truth ever. It didn't matter what I presented him with, he always denied it. Our relationship got so toxic I started cheating on him, for the fact I was so pissed he wouldn't stop or admit it. Thankfully this didn't last long. We got divorced, no kids, I've never looked back.
Thank you for watching. Comment what do you think about this situation. Don't forget to like and subscribe.